Here's a much longer and more detailed comparison between Viking Idun and the mysterious Amamagna, weaving in a deep dive into Idun's place in Norse mythology and a more speculative exploration of Amamagna's potential identity. This expanded analysis includes thematic elements, historical context, and the symbolic roles of both figures. 1. Viking Idun, a detailed exploration of her role in Norse mythology, origin and background. Idun, also spelled Idun and sometimes referred to as Iduna, is a central goddess in Norse mythology, appearing predominantly in the Poetic Edda and Prose Edda. These two texts form the core of what we know about Norse gods, myths, and cosmology. Her role as the guardian of youth and immortality places her among the key figures in the Norse pantheon, especially within the context of divine survival and the ongoing vitality of the gods. Norse cosmology. In Norse mythology, the gods are immortal but dependent on Eden's apples to maintain their divine vigor. The gods' immortality is not inherent but is maintained by consuming these apples. Her role, therefore, is symbolic of the delicate balance of life and immortality in a harsh world where even the gods must rely on a gift to sustain themselves. Idun's role and function, the apples of immortality. Idun's apples are perhaps the most iconic aspect of her mythological identity. These apples represent more than just eternal youth. They symbolize the renewal of life, regeneration, and the eternal struggle against the forces of entropy and aging. The gods' reliance on these apples suggests that even in a world full of divine beings, survival is fragile and contingent upon the maintenance of youth and vitality. Cultural significance of youth. The concept of youth in Norse mythology is tied not only to beauty and vigor, but also to strength and vitality. Idun's apples therefore act as a conduit for divine power, reinforcing the importance of renewal and rejuvenation in maintaining the cosmic order. Youth in Norse mythology was not just about physical beauty, but also about maintaining the capacity to fight against chaos, preserve balance, and uphold the gods' ability to fulfill their cosmic roles. Symbol of life-giving nourishment. In many mythologies, certain foods or objects act as the key to immortality or eternal youth. For example, in Greek mythology, ambrosia and nectar are consumed by the gods to preserve their immortality. Eden's apples play a similar role in the Norse mythos, representing life-giving nourishment that ensures not just survival, but divine efficacy. Idun and the myth of her abduction. The theft of Idun's apples by Thiazi. The most significant myth concerning Idun is her abduction by the giant Thiazi, a powerful figure in Norse mythology. In this myth, Thiazi, seeking to weaken the gods and assert his power, kidnaps Idun and her apples. Without them, the gods begin to age rapidly and lose their strength, as the apples are the only thing keeping their vitality intact. Loki's role. The myth takes a significant turn when Loki, the trickster god, is forced to intervene. He helps Thiazi escape with Idun, but later deceives him, ultimately freeing Idun and restoring her apples to the gods. This myth highlights Loki's dual nature as both helper and troublemaker, often leading to both chaos and eventual restoration. Loki's deception serves as a necessary catalyst for the gods' rejuvenation, symbolizing the cyclical nature of life and death in Norse mythos. The restoration of youth. Once Idun is returned, the gods immediately regain their youthful appearance and strength. The myth of her abduction and return underscores the fragility of immortality and emphasizes the importance of youth as a force that must be protected and nurtured. The myth speaks to larger themes of the vulnerabilities even the gods face and the necessity of protecting sacred and vital resources. Attributes and symbolism: youth, vitality, and rebirth. Idun is a symbol of renewal and rejuvenation. Her apples embody the cyclical nature of life and the regeneration of the gods' life force. In this sense, Idun can be understood as a representation of life's continuity, not just a goddess of eternal youth, but a symbol of the need to sustain life against time's inevitable erosion. Nature and fertility. Idun's apples, in many depictions, are deeply tied to the concept of growth and natural cycles. Her apples can be seen as both a fertility symbol and an antidote to decay, as they counteract the aging process that would naturally afflict even the gods. As such, Idun can be understood as a nature goddess, though more through the lens of rejuvenation than traditional fertility goddesses like Freyr or Frigg. Fertility and creation. While Idun may not directly symbolize fertility in the conventional sense, she can be seen as part of the broader mythological cycle of life, her apples acting as the divine force that perpetuates the god's ability to engage in the world, whether through battle, governance, or creation. In this way, Idun indirectly sustains creation, providing the gods with the ability to continue their essential work. Iconography and depictions. Idun is often depicted as a beautiful and youthful goddess, typically shown holding her golden apples or surrounded by nature. She is sometimes depicted as a young woman in flowing robes, holding basket or branch laden with apples, emphasizing the role of nature's bounty in her divine duties. Second, Amamagna, speculative analysis and ambiguity. The mystery of Amamagna. The name Amamagna does not seem to appear in any of the major mythological traditions such as Greek, Roman, Egyptian, or Norse mythology. It does not match any commonly known figures from ancient mythological pantheons or religious texts. As of the latest scholarly resources available, Amamagna is not a recognized figure in any mythological corpus. Potential sources. It's possible that Amamagna could be a modern or fictional creation, particularly from the realm of fantasy literature, video games, or contemporary cultural narratives. It may also represent an obscure regional myth, part of an indigenous folklore tradition, not widely disseminated in mainstream academic works. Linguistic roots. The name itself, especially with the suffix -magna, suggests a figure of great power, divinity, or importance. Magna often denotes greatness or majesty, akin to words like magnificent or magnitude. The prefix ama could be derived from various sources, potentially evoking themes of motherhood, nourishment, or life-giving powers. This suggests Amamagna could be associated with life-sustaining forces, potentially a goddess or spirit representing abundance, vitality, or rejuvenation. Speculative functions and themes. Life-giving force. If Amamagna is a deity tied to nature or vitality, she could serve as a guardian of something precious, like a sacred plant, element, or object that sustains the life force of her people or the universe she governs. Much like Idun guards her apples, Amamagna could be a protector of vitality, holding dominion over life-giving resources. Fertility and renewal. If Amamagna exists within a mythology that parallels themes of fertility and renewal, she might be associated with the regeneration of life, the changing seasons, or cosmic cycles. Similar to Idun's role in providing the apples that rejuvenate the gods, Amamagna could be imagined as a goddess who ensures the renewal of life or protects vital resources that ensure the prosperity of nature or humankind. Restoration and balance. Just as Idun's apples restore the god's youth, Amamagna could be a figure who plays a role in restoring balance when it is disrupted. She may help to regenerate areas that have been ravaged, return life to barren lands, or provide strength to those in need. Lack of clear, mythological identity, absence in historical texts. The most significant challenge in making a direct comparison with Idun is that Amamagna doesn't appear in any recognized or well-documented ancient mythological texts. This means there is no clear cultural context or mythology that offers a comprehensive view of her role and attributes. Third Idun versus Amamagna. Key comparisons. Common themes: vitality and immortality. Both figures, if we assume Amamagna to be a goddess of life or vitality, could represent life-sustaining forces, whether through youth, Idun, or through some other form of vitality and rejuvenation. Protection of sacred resources. Idun guards the apples of immortality, while Amamagna, in a similar vein, could be imagined as the guardian of a vital life force or resource, ensuring that the world or her people do not lose the ability to regenerate or thrive. Differences. Historical context and documentation. Idun's role is well documented in Norse mythology, appearing in several key texts and myths. In contrast, Amamagna appears to be a more speculative or unknown figure with no established history in major mythological sources. Cultural significance. Idun is a part of the Norse pantheon, a major cultural and religious system, whereas Amamagna's cultural roots are uncertain, with no definitive connections to ancient mythologies. Role in cosmic order. Idun's role is clear. She maintains the immortality and strength of the gods. Amamagna's role, based on speculation, might be more flexible depending on the mythology in which she exists. She could represent fertility, seasonal cycles, or protection of life forces, but this remains unclear. PLS like, share, and subscribe for more info comment. Another topic you want to see her? Compare Zone 11. Peace out.